Welcome to this explainer. If you've ever stood in front of a classroom, you are intimately familiar with one universal, deeply frustrating struggle that unites pretty much all educators: getting a room full of energetic humans to just listen. We pour our absolute hearts into our material, but sometimes it literally feels like we are speaking into a void. Well, today, we're breaking down some incredible source material that completely shifts the paradigm on why this happens, and more importantly, how to actually fix it using what's called the systems mindset.
Picture this. You've just given crystal clear directions, flawless instructions, and before you even finish speaking the very last word, a hand shoots up. Or worse, someone just blurts out, "Wait, what are we supposed to do?" It's maddening, isn't it? You just said it. It takes absolutely everything in you not to just sigh loudly. We have all been there, wondering why our words seem to just evaporate the exact moment they leave our mouths.
Or, hey, maybe your experience looks a bit more like that agonizing internal countdown from 5. You know the one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You stand there, you wait, you ask for attention, and the conversations just keep right on going as if you are completely invisible. If you have ever ended a school day staring blankly at your desk, totally drained, asking yourself, "Why won't my students just listen?" this explainer is going to be a real game changer for you.
Well, here is the crucial turning point. Your students probably aren't actually ignoring you, they are waiting for a system. When we're exhausted, it's so easy to interpret a loud room or missed instructions as defiance, right? Or a lack of respect. But the source material we're looking at today offers a massive pattern interrupt to that kind of thinking. The issue isn't that they don't respect you, it's that they're lacking the structural guidance to know exactly how to succeed in that specific moment.
Section 1, the classroom management myth. Okay, let's dive into this and see why the old way is just a broken paradigm. So, we've always been taught that managing a classroom is about managing behavior, putting out fires, and somehow possessing this magical, authoritative aura. But the source shares a highly relatable story that perfectly illustrates why that traditional view just doesn't work. The author had planned what they thought was the absolute perfect lesson. The materials were flawlessly organized, the slides were beautiful, they stood at the front, delivered the explanation, and then, bam! 28 students started asking 28 different questions all at once. Before the teacher even knew what was happening, kids were wandering around, chatter was echoing everywhere, and complete chaos had descended in under 2 minutes. The teacher was just left standing there thinking, how on earth did this fall apart so fast?
But out of that chaotic moment came a pretty profound realization. Actually, the problem wasn't the lesson itself. The problem wasn't the students either. The problem was the routines. As the source beautifully puts it, great teachers don't manage behavior, they design systems. Think about that. You aren't failing at classroom management. You just need a stronger architectural system for your students to operate within. Because if the foundation isn't there, even the most beautifully organized lesson plan is going to crumble.
Which brings us to Section 2, the C.L.E.A.R framework.
When you build truly clear systems, behavior issues largely resolve themselves on autopilot. To do this, the source outlines a brilliantly simple 5-step architectural model. Every single routine in your classroom should be run through this exact filter. The C.L.E.A.R framework stands for 1. Communicate. 2. Learn by modeling. 3. Engage through practice. 4. Affirm success. 5. Repeat. Now, I want you to look at these 5 pillars not as extra work, but as the investment that is going to buy back your time, your energy, and honestly, your sanity for the rest of the year. Let's break down exactly how to execute each of these, starting with the letter C.
The C stands for communicate. But wait, this doesn't just mean telling students what the end goal is. We can't just explain what to do. We have to explain what it physically looks and sounds like. For instance, giving a vague command like, "All right, everyone, get into your groups," is basically a recipe for chaos. Instead, you've got to communicate the exact physical steps. You say, stand up quietly, grab your notebook, move to station 3, and begin step 1. Notice how tangible that is? You are giving them a precise physical script to follow.
Next up is L, learned by modeling. According to our source, this is where the vast majority of teachers get it completely wrong. We are so pressed for time that we just skip modeling altogether. We assume that because they're a certain age, they know how to push into a chair or move across a room. The right way to do this is to physically show them what success looks like. And here's a great pro tip from the source. Demonstrate the wrong way first, maybe with a little bit of theatrical humor, and then immediately demonstrate the exact right way. It makes the expectation totally unforgettable.
Then we hit E, engage through practice. Get ready for a major mindset shift here. Do not assume that telling them once, or even showing them once, means they actually know it in their bones. You have to pause the lesson and have the whole class practice the routine in real time. The metric here is absolutely key. Practice until transitions are under 30 seconds. If it takes 3 tries for the class to get it right, well, you practice it 3 times right then and there. You're building muscle memory.
And this brilliantly illustrates our next step, the A in the framework, which stands for affirm success. When your students actually hit that standard you just modeled and practiced, you have to call it out loudly and specifically. Saying something like, Table 2 transitioned in 15 seconds silently, awesome job, does something incredibly powerful. Positive reinforcement like this literally cements the system as the unshakable standard for the room. It proves to them that you're paying attention to their success, not just catching their mistakes.
Finally, we reach R, repeat until automatic. You cannot do this for just the first week of school and then drop it. The source emphasizes a golden rule of systems. Consistency beats intensity every single time. You don't need to be intensely strict or super loud. You just need to be consistently predictable. You repeat this entire process for every single routine until it becomes total second nature to the students.
Section 3. Reclaiming your classroom. Let's move to and see how this builds into the ultimate emotional payoff.
The beautiful reality is this. When you stop trying to manage every individual misbehavior and instead rely on the systems you've built, the behavior just naturally starts to fix itself. The friction disappears. Suddenly, classroom management stops being this exhausting heavy boulder you have to push up a hill every single day. And the best part? Teaching actually becomes joyful again. You finally get to focus on the content and the connection rather than just playing traffic cop all day long.
Great classrooms aren't built on perfect teachers. They are built on consistent systems. You don't have to be flawlessly charismatic. You don't need a booming, authoritative voice. You don't even need to have endless patience every single minute of the day. You just need to rely on the architectural systems you have intentionally built and communicated to your students. It takes the heavy pressure off of your personality and places it squarely onto the process.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a bit of a provocative thought. Students simply cannot consistently meet expectations they have never been clearly taught. Build the system and watch your classroom completely transform. Tomorrow morning, instead of looking out at a chaotic room and asking, why aren't they listening? Ask yourself, have I taught this routine well enough that my students can actually succeed?